The president of Star Torch Academy teased since version 3.1, Lucilla is finally here in Wuthering Waves 3.4, with dual resonance modes, plenty of fantastic buffs, and one of the simplest kits in the game. She's tailor-made to support incredibly popular units like Hiyuki, while also filling in a secondary role as an Echo Skill team buffer. As a Glacio basic attack damage or Echo Skill damage focused sub DPS that buffs Glacio Chafe or Echo Skills, she'll pair best with units like Chisa, Hiyuki, Phrolova, and Segrika. With that, welcome to our full scope comprehensive guide to Lucilla, the newest addition to Wuthering Waves, and I'm here to break down everything when it comes to how she works, what her best equipment will be, and the steps you need to take across her team building and rotations to make the most out of her insane buffing potential. As always, if you're enjoying this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Lucilla, with her baseline kit, focuses on generating photos through the buildup of Trace, with 3 photos allowing her to cast her Liberation. From there, she'll consume photos by attacking in this enhanced state to apply a massive number of offensive buffs to her team that differ depending on her resonance mode, Glacio Chafe, or Echo Skill. Naturally, we'll begin with how she gets these photos. Lucilla holds up to 150 points of Trace, and every 50 Trace, she generates a photo. Trace is generated through a few main methods. The first is with Lucilla's intro skill, which generates 100 points of Trace, or 2 photos, and also inflicts 1 stack Glacio Chafe. The second is with the third hit of her basic attack chain. On the third hit, a held input will cause a focus ring to appear on the screen. Releasing the attack button outside of perfect focus triggers Unremarkable, which generates only 25 Trace, while releasing it inside will trigger Commendable, which deals more damage and generates 50. Tapping during the third hit will only trigger Unremarkable. Lucilla's mid-air attack is a plunge that can chain into her second basic attack, while her dodge counter chains into her third. Another method of generating Trace is with Lucilla's resonance skill. Holding this button triggers another focus ring, which operates similarly to Lucilla's third basic attack. Missing the ring triggers Compensate, which refunds half the ability's cooldown and can change into the second hit of her basic. Hitting the ring, however, triggers Spotlight, which generates 20 additional Concerto, inflicts a stack of Glacio Chafe, and can also chain into her second basic. Spotlight is additionally buffed by Lucilla's first inherent skill, slowing targets hit while also granting her 8% Glacio resistance reduction around the active teammate in Glacio Chafe form, or granting her 25% Echo Skill damage to the entire team in Echo form for 30 seconds. When Trace is filled and Lucilla has 3 photos, she then gains access to her Liberation, which is normally locked and has no energy cost at all. Likewise, Lucilla also has a cap of 0 energy. This Liberation deals a burst of Glacio damage and buffs Lucilla differently depending on her resonance mode. In Glacio, she deals basic attack damage and gains a 30% basic attack damage bonus for 10 seconds, while in Echo, she deals Echo Skill damage and gains a 30% Echo Skill damage bonus for 10 seconds. In this state, she loses access to her resonance skill and Liberation while also gaining interruption resistance. She also gains a unique resource depending on her resonance mode. In Glacio, she gains 4 stacks of Film Roll, while in Echo, she gains 1 stack of Zoom. Lucilla consumes 1 stack of Film Roll whenever a teammate inflicts Glacio Chafe to additionally inflict it 2 more times on nearby targets, with a cooldown of half a second, while Zoom, on the other hand, simply buffs the active teammate's Echo Skill crit damage by 10% per stack. On top of all of that, Lucilla also gains an enhanced normal attack. This attack chain has 3 hits and always deals basic attack damage. Holding attack casts all 3 stages consecutively, and on the third hit, holding the input repeats the attack up to 3 times. During each of these repeated attacks, Lucilla consumes 1 photo to perform Oblivion, which has a unique effect depending on her mode. In Glacio, this deals basic attack damage and inflicts 1 stack of Glacio Chafe, while in Echo, it's considered Echo Skill damage and is considered casting a unique Echo Skill. This is important for units like Segrika or Galbrena or Phrolova, who all benefit from increased casts. Lucilla's second inherent also generates 2 stacks of Film Roll or 1 stack of Zoom every time a photo is consumed, making the max cap of Film Roll 10 stacks and Zoom 4 stacks, or 20 applications of Glacio Chafe and 40% Echo Skill crit damage. Those are some fantastic buffs, especially for a Hiyuki who enhances Glacio Chafe to Glacio Bite, and Segrika who deals virtually entirely Echo Skill damage with her kit. After performing Oblivion 3 times, Lucilla will automatically follow up with Letting It Go, which deals basic attack or Echo Skill damage depending on her mode, grants her invulnerability, and also restores 20 additional points of Concerto. This also ends her unique state. When you factor in all of Lucilla's abilities, resources, and interactions with each other, she has an incredibly simple playstyle that involves intro skilling in, casting her held skill to buff her team, and then simply using her Liberation followed by her enhanced basic attack chain. From there, she'll trigger Oblivion 3 times, massively buff her team, and then finish off with a burst of damage with Letting It Go before outroing to her DPS, granting the team 60% Glacio Chafe damage and for 30 seconds in Glacio mode, or amplifying the incoming Resonator's Echo skill damage by 50% for 14 seconds or until swap in Echo mode. When it comes to Tomb Break, Lucilla doesn't interact with the mechanic at all and functions like a pre-3.x unit. Overall, Lucilla is a unit that greatly amplifies the damage output of Hiyuki first and foremost, unlocking the third effect of Hiyuki's Snow Rust passive that amplifies Glacial Bite damage further, and with Lucilla's massive amount of application that exceeds over 20 stacks, alongside her baseline 60% amplification to chafe damage, pulling her will take your Hiyuki to heights you haven't seen with Lene, just so as long as you have Chisa to meet that third stack. In her other form, she fills a near identical role to Chuyan while possessing slight differences in her buffs that have her favoring Segrika over Galbrina while still being fantastic for Phrolova. Most players, however, will find most of her playtime in Glacial Chafe teams given the absurd popularity of Lene in 3.x lineups. However, do keep in mind that it can be a bit expensive on the investment side to unlock both forms of a unit, as we've seen that in the past with characters like Denya. When it comes to actually building Lucilla, starting off with skill priority, you'll want to max out her Liberation and Forte first, as they're her main sources of damage, followed by her Resident skill. Her basic attack and intro can both be kept at lower levels to help save on weekly boss mats. Moving on to her weapon, Lucilla is once again in a bad spot as a Rectifier user, especially in her Echo skill form. Here's what the calculations are looking like for her Glacial form, credits to Pridewind. Let's explain these results starting off with their signature, Freeze Frame. This weapon has a standard base attack and crit rate, a 12% attack buff, and a 30% glacial damage bonus whenever Glacial Chafe is triggered, alongside a 24% attack buff to the entire team. Lucilla triggers Chafe in either form with her intro, so she has good uptime on the effect, and it's also one of the only team buffing rectifiers in the game, making it work well with her baseline kit. It's tailor-made for her. The next best option is naturally String Master, with its great critical stats and generalist weapon effect. But there's a good chance that you don't have this weapon, considering that the last time it was available on Banner was April 2025. Rest in peace. The rest of the limited rectifiers tie for third place, given that they're all stat sticks with effects that hardly activate for Lucilla, but there are some unique callouts based on Lucilla's Resonance mode. Cosmic Ripples is actually a decent choice for Glacial Chafe teams, as its small basic attack damage boost will see use, and a majority of Lucilla's damage will actually be Glacial Chafe damage versus coming from her raw stats. On the other hand, Lethian Elegy will be a standout second best in slot in Echo skill teams given its built-in damage amp. Cosmic Ripples is available on the standard banner and will outperform virtually every 4-star option, so go for this over anything else. Now let's talk about Lucilla's Echoes, and she has a lot of options depending on both her Resonance mode and team composition. In Glacial mode, the decision is easy as you go for a 5-piece Wishes of Quiet Snowfall with a Mammoth in the main slot, using its effect to buff the incoming Resonator's glacial damage, in this case being Hiyuki. In Echo mode, she'll want a 3-piece Dreams of the Lost or a 3-piece Law of Harmony with a 2-piece Realist Splice Memories and an active Moth Echo, or a 5-piece Moonlit Clouds with the Heron. In most cases, Moonlit Clouds will be your most budget-friendly bet, so try this out first if you're unsure of what to go with. For Echo main stats, she'll want a crit 4 cost, 2 glacial damage 3 costs, and 2 attack 1 costs. For her substats, she'll want crit rate, damage, attack percentage, and basic attack damage if she's in glacial form, or simply just more attack if she's in Echo form. One thing to note is that you want absolutely no ER at all on any of her pieces, which can make a Moonlit Clouds 2-piece effect feel a bit wasteful. The last area of investment for Lucilla involves your wallet or a lot of saved Astrite, and there's no pulling event for this 3.4 unit. It's sequence nodes, and here's what the damage increases are looking like, credits to Pridewind. Her first node enhances her held Resonance skill, immediately expanding its focus ring to trigger Spotlight. She'll also gain 20% crit rate buff for 10 seconds after using Spotlight and interruption immunity during her skill or third basic attack. Her second node is huge and mainly buffing oriented, granting 80% Glacial Chafe amplification or 40% Echo skill damage amplification depending on her mode after using her Liberation. These buffs persist for 30 seconds after her Liberation ends. The third node buffs Letting It Go's damage multiplier by 100%, while her fourth causes Oblivion to pull in targets and increase Lucilla's attack by 10% with each hit, up to 3 stacks for 6 seconds. She also gains 30% damage reduction while using her third basic. The fifth node buffs Oblivion's damage multiplier by 50%, and her sixth node, the big one, grants her 1 stack of remembrance each time she consumes a photo. This increases Letting It Go's damage by 200% per stack with 3 stacks max. These stacks are removed after using the nuke. She also gains Longing if she defeats any target during her ultimate, and when this state ends while out of combat, she'll consume Longing to immediately generate 150 trace and unlock her ultimate. Now that we've covered Lucilla's build, let's get into some of her teams and optimal rotations. With Yuki's existence and the plentiful number of Echo skill damage dealers, Lucilla will have an impressive number of teams on release. Her best overall team will feature Chisa as the support, Lucilla as the sub DPS, and Hiyuki as the main DPS. You'll start off on Chisa, skill, basic, echo skill, and then liberation, followed by more basics until you trigger Chisa's large scissor chop. From there, you'll enhance skill to enter chainsaw mode and then spam basic attacks until she leaps into the air with full concerto. Then outro to Lucilla. Lucilla will then intro skill in, hold her skill to trigger spotlight, and then liberation. Then you'll hold down the basic attack input until she triggers Oblivion 3 times and then let letting it go before echo skilling and then swapping to Hiyuki. Hiyuki will then basic attack followed by her enhanced heavy attack before using her echo skill and liberation. From there, you'll basic attack 3 times while dodge canceling the third hit, then basic attack 3 times again and double cast her resonance skill to cancel the third hit again, holding down the skill to enter Yai stance and then attack 3 times before using her enhanced heavy attack followed by her liberation. This team deals a massive amount of glacial bite damage and has insane amount of application during Hiyuki's rotation. This team has some unexplored quick swap potential, but given Lucilla's very short and tight rotation, it won't be explored in this early release video. You can opt to substitute Shorekeeper in with Chisa for this team, but keep in mind that you will lose Hiyuki's third snow breath stack and greatly reduce the negative status damage output, but it's still perfectly viable. Another team Lucilla excels in is with Shorekeeper as the support, Segrika as the DPS, and Lucilla as the sub-DPS on Moonlit Clouds or Law of Harmony. On this team, you'll start off on Shorekeeper and perform basic attacks, skills, and enhanced heavy attacks to generate Concerto before outro skilling to Lucilla, who will perform the identical rotation discussed prior. From there, you'll intro skill in on Segrika, who will then echo skill and basic attack until she triggers Decipher, and then use her enhanced heavy attack followed by her liberation. Then she'll basic attack again until she gets a second Decipher, then use another enhanced heavy attack followed by her enhanced skill before outroing to Shorekeeper. This team is much more reliable to play than Chuyan, especially given how much more interruption resistant Lucilla is when casting her echo skills, and with Segrika dealing nearly entirely echo skill damage, Lucilla's specific buffs don't restrict her in any way here. You can opt to swap out Segrika for another echo skill damage focused DPS like Galbraina, but keep in mind that Galbraina deals a mixed spread between heavy and echo skill damage, making Lucilla's echo skill specific buffs much less effective on her. Because of this, it isn't actually recommended to use these two together. Lucilla's final set of teams will feature Phrolova as the main DPS. The first one up is the most consistent, with Lucilla as the sub DPS on Law of Harmony or Dreams of the Lost, and Cantarella as the hybrid support. In this team, you'll open up on Phrolova, basic attacking until her enhanced basic, followed by her enhanced skill. Then she'll skill, echo skill, and then enhanced basic, followed by another enhanced basic string into an enhanced skill before using her enhanced heavy attack, followed by her liberation. From there, you'll outro to Lucilla, who will perform her identical rotation before outroing to Cantarella, who will basic, skill, then enhanced heavy attack for her ultimate. Then she'll skill, basic attack 3 times, then enhanced skill, followed by more basics until her Concerto is filled, ending with her echo skill and then outro back to Phrolova. This team is strong, but isn't quite as powerful as having Chuyan in instead of Lucilla, but it's a good lineup if you don't have Chuyan. But if you do, you can instead opt for a lineup that features Phrolova, Chuyan, and Lucilla, with Chuyan on Law of Harmony and Lucilla on Dreams of the Lost. Since this team is sustainless, we won't be covering it too much in this release day video, but keep in mind that this is now Phrolova's new best-in-slot team, as long as you're willing to take some risks. Overall, Lucilla is a multi-layered sub-DPS that has plenty of flexibility across the roster as long as you have the units that can actually capitalize on her buffs. By supporting both Glacio Chafe and Echo Skill archetypes, she has a huge amount of available teams, but unfortunately can only be used on one at a time, meaning that most players will opt for her stronger form in the meta, which at release is her Glacio form. In the case of her Echo form, she's not a direct upgrade over Chuyan under any means, and will noticeably underperform compared to him with specific releases like Galbraina or Phrolova, while slightly edging him out when it comes to Segrika, making her a great option if you don't have him, while making some of her use cases redundant if you already do. Regardless, I have the viewpoint that her Echo skill mode is more so the cherry on top, as her main appeal is her ability to support Hiyuki and permanently free up Lene, one of the most popular units in the game, for work in any other lineup. This means that as long as you have Hiyuki, Lucilla's pretty close to a must pull. And who skipped Hiyuki? As always, if you enjoyed this content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Peace out.